congratulations on another season of The Chosen.
Thank you so much, Gig. Thank you. What an accomplishment. We just keep reaching new heights. So thank you.
You know what? This is a special season with The Last Supper, and I feel like the flock of audiences is reaching the new heights for the series. And so I want to hear it from you first. Is what do you suppose is the secret to success for The Chosen?
I think there's definitely a mystery to it, the great mystery, you know. There's a little bit of as Dallas would say, like a little bit of impossible math. We just kind of never knew that the trajectory was going to be this linear and breaking even ideas that we thought. But I really think that people are looking for a different experience in the theater. And maybe they didn't even know they were looking for it, but there's a cathartic experience in this story, specifically in The Last Supper, that I think anyone can relate to. And it does, like outside of religious context, it's the last meal. You know, we see it in so many in so we see the same trope across so many movies, but what it means to the culture and the reverberation across time. I think that's probably why people, like I said, even if they're not religious, are gonna go give this a peek and be kind of transported back to this story that we all supposedly know so well. And of course, our perspective is always trying to find and thread the needle through the gray. You know, we all understand what's the black and white of this story, but I think we do so well in trying to find that gray for sure.
I feel like this season the tone is a little bit different from the previous seasons. It's almost like they're the lectures are still there, but we're starting to get these elements of like a spy thriller, like a little bit more action in this case.
Yeah.
Tell us about the tone of the series now, and how do you feel as an actor on a production like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of hit it on the head by calling it sort of this spy thriller. There's like this element of behind the scenes, behind the curtain, and our cinematographer does so well to sort of convey that. That's like another component, but it was definitely in the script, and so I knew we were going to go for a more intimate, a lot of more close-ups. And it was going to take a different sort of performance, like as opposed to these wide landscapes and like 6,000 people, it's going to be here. And so I had to prepare myself, just to be comfortable with the camera being that close and still conveying that emotional truth so that I could complete the arc of Big James in season 5. But yeah, I would agree that it's a complete shift of the tone without a doubt. And I like it. I tend to like the heavier stuff.
It's funny. Speaking of wide line landscapes, I feel like in the previous seasons, you folks there put so much mileage on your sandals, so much walking, and now there isn't.
Oh my God, dude, I have gone through one pair of sandals, and that one pair should have been two because they were just like, let me just say that my foot, like, it had bent the sandal inward, like like it almost looks like a big foot mark, like when they get the big footprint. That's what that sandal looked like. So we had to retire those. I got some fresh new ones, but yeah, dude, I think we walked something like 8 miles at one point, just doing the walk and talks. Reset, walk it again. Reset, walk it again. Next pair of actors, next pair of actors, next pair of actors. So yeah, we put some miles on those poor sandals.
So tell us about that production set now, with Jerusalem, because that location is vast and so majestic to us viewers.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, we have a big problem in shooting the show in the sense that we can't be around power lines, we can't be around anything modern, and so we have to find these remote places, and we have found them in Utah, we have found them in Texas, and maybe some other stuff that I can't talk about right now, but maybe some other places, and it's so. Specifically, Utah lends itself in this very like hilly, hilly by water sort of way, which I think is like very reminiscent of what you see in Jerusalem, in the Galilee, in Bethlehem. It's very hilly, like limestone, rocky. So I feel like Utah really really gets that. But then in Texas, we have all of our interiors and our city sets that are just a lot more, like I said, you can really build that hubbub, that sense of the city is moving, you know?
Now, tell us about your story arc for Big James this season because he has that undying loyalty to Jesus and it seems like out of everyone, he's the first to volunteer and protect him.
Yeah, I think you're gonna see that loyalty through and through. It's kind of Big James's strong suit to be a protector and sort of go from somebody who was willing to throw blows with a Samaritan to somebody who was willing to rechannel that energy to protect Jesus. But then, that and this is like the true definition of tragedy, and you'll see it play out around three or four for my character. There's just the realization that he's for 100% of the effort that he can put in, he's in control of exactly 0% of this outcome, and that breaks him. That breaks his reality. That breaks his idea of what this sort of jubilant coming of the Messiah was going to be, so it's quite tragic for Big James this year, and I really worked hard to convey that vulnerability, and I hope that the audiences will understand where it comes from.
And how is the performance and filming the Last Supper scenes for that because that's very very significant for this season.
Oh man, it was about 2 weeks in that room. We were 2 weeks in that room, and we were, it was dark, and it was very ethereal. I mean, even the lighting was beautiful, but I don't think I'll forget that room. It just had this feeling from the moment that you walked in. And also I had this, this very big moment in the scene in the series where Big James comes to that realization, and um so yeah, it's I would call it like it feels like some dream, but the unfortunate part is that it's not a dream, that it is actually the end of an age, so to speak.
And I have to touch upon a really emotional scene in from those Last Supper scenes was the feet washing. Can you tell me, what was going on through your head when you were performing in that scene?
Incredulous that he would walk in, and then the first thing he says is like, I'm gonna wash your guys' feet. And it's such a it's such a gesture of respect, and it is such a handing over of the power of the baton, so to speak. And so, I mean, for me, when he was doing it, I was shocked. I was shocked and just utterly confused and almost saddened, because it's like when somebody's trying to say goodbye but they can't say goodbye. It's almost like, if you've ever had the misfortune of having to say goodbye to your dog, but you can't convey to him that they're gonna that this shot is gonna be the end of it, you know? And so it was like kind of the last favor, not just the Last Supper. It was like the last act of love and appreciation for his apostles, and it was just so touching for me.
Well, then let me wrap it up with one last question because it's almost over for yourself, and I feel like you're starting to go through this goodbye tour. So how do you feel about all of this?
What a beautiful question. You're gonna make me cry. I had said that I wouldn't really think about it till we had arrived and we're here. And it's so beautiful. It's been a ride, and I didn't want it to be over, but like all good things, the moment comes. And so, now I'm just enjoying the ceilings that in many ways this was a dream come true and beyond. So I'm grateful for it, beyond grateful. I'll never forget this. This has been the greatest experience of my acting career, to work in the first century and be out in the wild for 6 months out of the year. And it is going to be a shocker to come back to the big city and never don those sandals again. But nonetheless, it is only because of the gratitude that I can have these beautiful memories. So I'm very grateful.
Well, it's still not over yet, and people still want more. So, Abe, thank you very much for speaking to us for the chosen the Last Supper. Everyone's having that chance to stream it now, so it is terrific. Thank you.
Thank you, Gig. I appreciate it.